Rudy, we have air now.
Okay, okay. Let's make a test for the sound. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Am I close enough? Because I'm a little bit more far away than usual, yeah? Okay?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Okay, good. Good. This is number 18, right?
Yes, 18.
So, okay, backstage number 18. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, darlings at home, meine Damen und Herren, wir wissen, dass Sie uns hören. We know that you hear us. This is our usual countdown for the weekly Rudy Backstage. You're either live on Insta or you watch it, which I think is better, on my YouTube channel, Rudi Dolez als Doro TV. In 1 minute, 14, 13, 12 seconds, we're going to start with our live show. Everything okay, Paul?
Yes, everything okay.
Okay, good. Don't forget, the first thing is, of course, the hellos and then the intro, okay? By the way, have you changed the outro? Have you changed the insert, as I said?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you. Good. Okay, darling. So, well, good luck. Toi, toi, toi. Alles Gute. Nach Wien. Of course, Paul is sitting in Vienna, Austria, Europe, and I'm sitting in Miami. My associate producer, Beth, is sitting in Ohio, Cleveland. Hello, Beth. How are you? And so we have now 26, 27. As you know, this is Rudi Dolezal speaking. This is entirely, or the focus of this program will be questions of friends, followers, and fans, which were given to me. And now 10. Okay, mute yourself. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Buonasera amici miei italiani e buonasera a tutti I fans. Benvenuti al mio programma Rudy Backstage. Questo sarà una dinamite show, un spettacolo esplosivo. Bonsoir mesdames et messieurs et à tous mes amis et fans français. Bienvenue dans mon émission Rudy Backstage. Restez avec moi, ça va être de la dynamite, je vois. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rudy again, live from Miami, Florida, from my office. And this is Rudy Backstage number 18. Meine Damen und Herren, für alle in Deutschland, Österreich und der Schweiz sage ich mal schönen guten Abend. Das ist ja schon Abend, 20 Uhr. Bei Ihnen, bei mir ist es 2 Uhr nachmittags. Und heute wieder Rudy Backstage. Bisschen zweisprachig, aber sehr viel Englisch. Ich hoffe, Sie bleiben dabei. Und ich habe einige wirklich tolle Neuigkeiten. And Paul, we have the Spanish. Buenas noches a todos mis amigos españoles y a todos los fans. Bienvenido a mi programa Rudy Backstage. Esto será una dinamite show, un espectáculo explosivo. And now we really start, Paul, Backstage.
You wanna know what goes on backstage? Oh, come on. Let me take you by the hand. Ow!
Rudy, are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen.
The way I see it, Barry, this should be a very dynamite show.
You know, I have no idea what the name of this program is, but you're watching it.
Backstage. All you ever want. Backstage. All you ever need. Backstage. Your dreams will be fulfilled once you are there. You'll never want to leave. You want to sell your ass for that backstage pass. Backstage is just for the invited. Backstage. They've laid on everything.
Yeah, hello. And this is now the real beginning. I hope you are fine. I'm in Florida. You read the news. You know what's happening here with COVID-19. I'm not going to go into it today. but of course, I'm okay, but I'm worried. And let's leave it at that. Important is that yesterday, on Saturday, there was a very, very, very special day. Because yesterday, exactly 50 years ago, Queen were playing their first concert. So we are, of course, now today we have again a program which is focused on your questions, which you sent to me. And there's going to be a lot of Queen questions included, but also Rolling Stones, Falco, Whitney Houston, general stuff, etc. Because it's a little bit of a day yesterday, and let's say the Sunday as well, where we celebrate Queen. I hope that you all agree on that. So, in this program today, it's going to be mainly or very focused questions that you sent to me. Now, there's a new function here, and I'm going to try to do this. Here we are. Usually the questions that I'm going to answer, they were all sent to the email address which you see at the third line, backstage.qa@gmail.com. That's backstage.qa@gmail.com. If you have interesting questions, then send it there. As it looks, I mean, this is the questions that I picked. I mean, I always say that I'm answering all of them. It looks like I'm not gonna get through today, although there's even no videos played today. It's only your questions, apart from one little video. And so I would say then also, of course, you will have some news on my book, My Friend Freddie. That was, now let's see if I can get it again. That is now the first line, which is not in email, but under www.myfriendfreddie.com. As you know, you can pre-order the book, which encourages me, and quite a lot of you have done it already. But there will be some news on it, on the book, what I wrote and what I'm writing, because you here on RUDI Backstage have informations before anybody else has it. But saying that, there is something new about RUDI for friends, followers, and fans, because since a few days ago, I'm also, here we go, I'm also now have a fan page on Facebook, which is called RUDI Dolezal Official. RUDI Dolezal Official, and that is actually quite a nice page. I would ask you to follow it, because there will be exclusive stuff that is not on my personal Facebook page and not on Instagram. So it absolutely makes sense to follow it. There will be exclusive videos and messages, and I'm going to do it multilingual, which means also my German fans and German-speaking fans and friends and followers, also auch meine lieben Freunde aus Österreich, Deutschland und der Schweiz, wenn sie auf diese Facebook-Fanpage folgen, also Follower werden, dort habe ich immer auch in deutscher Sprache, weil es mir manchmal ein bisschen komisch vorkommt, ich habe halt so viele internationale Followers, dass ich die Sendung auch hier in Englisch, hauptsächlich in Englisch machen muss, oder weil es Sinn macht, weil die 90% der Leute, die zuschauen, nicht Deutsch sprechen. Aber dort, finde ich, werde ich besonders auch auf die deutschsprachigen Freunde Rücksicht nehmen. Es sind schon einige Sachen oben und es macht absoluten Sinn, das zu machen. And also, what I've now started is RUDI on Twitter, which is @dolezalrudi. @dolezalrudi. I started Twitter 2 days ago. And so you now have, and of course, what is on Twitter is only going to be on Twitter, because Twitter is such a short message. I cannot really take the Instagram or Facebook messages and put it on Twitter. It doesn't make sense. So in other words, those two new social media platforms and outlets present something different to what you see on Instagram and my personal Facebook. And therefore, it could be interesting. So I would kindly ask you to follow me on both. And today, the focus is you. As I'm happy to repeat, Freddie Mercury always said, without the fans, we are nothing. And he meant Queen. And I'm usually I prefer to call you friends and followers, but if you want to call yourself fans, especially in America and the English-speaking countries, I'm also happy with that. But in Germany and Austria, it sounds a little bit funny being a fan of Rudi Dolezal. Because they know me since I was a little boy, or since I'm 17, I'm on television there, so nobody sees me there really as a legend or something like that. I also say that I'm usually the filmmaker. Legends are Freddie Mercury, Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon, especially today. Let's jump into it, darlings. Miklos Borbeli from Hungary says, very interesting question. Hungary, yeah. Hey, by the way, my book is also gonna be published in Hungarian language. There's gonna be 11 languages in Hungary. I chose Hungary because of the Budapest history. And he says, well, the first question, if Budapest 1986 is to be re-released, will you ever release the backstage footage of Budapest? Well, as I always say in this connection, in diesem Zusammenhang sage ich immer gerne, I always say, I can only suggest things to Queen and they are in the driving seat. So Mr. Jim Beach, Brian May, and Roger Taylor are the people who are actually making those decisions. But I think more interesting than the backstage footage, where there is of course more, and yes, I filmed much more than was released. There's some in Magic Years, but I did a documentary which was, I think, 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, must have been 2006. Queen was playing in Budapest with Paul Rodgers as a singer, and asked me to film there. And I filmed, sound check and also parts of the show. But the main part, why this is interesting, is I was checking and researching some of the fans which came from all over the world that I filmed before the 1986 Budapest concert and interviewed them again in front of the stadium 20 years afterwards, 20 years later, which I think is a quite nice thing. I don't remember exactly the title. It was only shown, well, it was a bonus. Feature on, but I think only in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. Finally, I don't know why. This is not in my hands. But this is interesting because that's a real rarity. I mean, I'm gonna talk to Brian and Roger if they maybe well, it's with Paul Rodgers, I don't know, it's old, it's like history, but that's also interesting. Miklos also has a second interesting question, therefore he gets the privilege of two questions. What happened with the recordings of Brian at the Royal Albert Hall 1998? I guess it wasn't said, blah, blah, blah. I saw you there making it, running around the Albert Hall with the Rudy cam, correct? And in the recording mobile, I saw all the TV cams during the rehearsals that afternoon. Seemed like a perfect release, perfect venue. Brian said no, and will it ever change, or will we ever see it? Well, actually, interesting that you asked that. I was asked, because I know that there is a research and search in the Queen archive for this footage. So maybe, I mean, the thing was that I think it was a great concert. And of course, it's in the hand of Brian. It was not that he wasn't happy. There was some other reason at the time, which I do not remember. He was happy with the band. He was happy with the performance, as far as I know, and he was also happy with what we filmed. And it's a very memorable day, I remember. So I think there is a chance that this comes out, but again, this has to be asked, I mean, directly at best to Brian and to the management. But I would be in favor. I think I did a live edit, but I also know that we recorded all the cameras independently. It must be in London, in the Queen Archive. as far as I know. But stay tuned for that. There might be some news. It obviously depends what Queen is releasing and planning. But I would be for it because it's a very interesting historic concert in my eyes. Then somebody from USA. Okay, I made a stupid mistake. I was tacking this, which is not a good idea because then on the left top there's always the name of somebody. Here we go. Tony Johnson from USA said, respecting Freddie's wishes and not making a museum of his garden lodge, what do you think will happen to it? There's random rumors. Mary passed it down to her children. Hopefully it doesn't get bulldozed down. Well, this is one of the things where I just can say, ask Mary. You know, I did say before that I think, remembering that I filmed in there the empty house when Freddie passed, but this footage belongs to Queen, and I have no control over when it's going to be released. Sebastian Brengel from Germany. Hallo aus Deutschland. My question is, did you know why Queen and Paul Rodgers split after 2008? There was never a statement from the band. And how was the feeling on that last tour with Paul Rodgers since you were there? In German, meine Frage ist, weißt du, warum Queen und Paul Rodgers sich getrennt haben nach 2008? Es gab nie ein offizielles Statement von der Band. Und wie war das Feeling bei dieser letzten Tournee mit Paul, da du dabei warst? I just said that I was filming in Budapest. Ich habe gerade gesagt, dass ich in Budapest gedreht habe. Und sozusagen, hat mir alles sehr, sehr gut und sehr, sehr, wie soll ich sagen, da war alles intakt. Ich habe später mit dem Paul auch noch gearbeitet, weil ich ja eigentlich auch an einer Paul Rodgers Dokumentation arbeite. Da kam an, nur einige Dinge sind dazwischen gekommen. Da wurde auch schon gedreht dafür. Und zwar haben wir da vor 2 Jahren begonnen. Und zwar einerseits eine Bad Company Tour hier in Amerika mit Lynyrd Skynyrd, die Abschiedstour von Lynyrd Skynyrd, und dann ein paar Solokonzerte. Und da sind dann aber ein paar vertragliche Dinge, die langweilig sind, dazwischen gekommen. I'm sorry for talking German. I said I also worked with Paul, and I was doing a documentary, or I'm still doing a documentary on him, where we filmed Lynyrd Skynyrd, where Bad Company and Lynyrd Skynyrd appeared. And Paul was just mentioning that for him, I'm talking now Paul Rodgers, yeah, that for him it was an interesting phase in his life, which had a beginning and an end. And for him, it always was clear that it's not going to go on forever. So I don't know how everybody else felt, and I actually haven't spoken to Brian or Roger about it. But fact is that that I think that that was a very interesting phase. You know that I always said, when they were on tour, I was defending them because people started to talk about, yeah, why do they call it Queen without Freddie Mercury with Paul Rodgers? First of all, it was called Queen Plus, but Paul Rodgers, and as it's called now, also Queen Plus. But Freddie was in the audience of a concert of the band Free, or Right Now, the world hit. Maybe people are too young to even remember it, but if you Google it, it's still available. A great world hit. And he once told me that he adored, or that he respected Paul Rodgers very much. And he was in the audience once at a concert where Paul Rodgers was singing, and he said to himself, I want to become like him. Therefore, for me, that was always fitting, yeah, with Freddie not being there, but Paul being there in his place. You have to really ask, again, the Queen, but I mean, I know that Paul didn't see it as being forever. So that might answer your question, lieber Sebastian Brengel. Cheryl Bonham of the USA, since you worked with the Stones, can you tell us a funny story about Keith? Okay, well, you're asking for it. Okay, let me think about it. I see that. Here we go. Okay. Let me do something, darlings, because I'm losing power otherwise. This is, of course, live, and therefore, here we go. Yes. Okay. Keith Richards. Okay, well, first of all, one of you had this great question and then idea, why don't you do the untold stories of the Rolling Stones, untold stories of Whitney? I'm going to do this later. Queen is, of course, for today, but also because of my book, in the moment, the focus of my creative work, or one big focus of my creative work. I'm also doing other projects. It's not only Queen. But, okay, the Stones, yeah. Well, I got the job for the first Stones video, which was 1982, because I was doing a documentary and interviewed all of them, and they didn't know about it, and then they viewed my documentary, and it was called Rolling Stones, the First 20 Years. I told that story, that how I got that. But when I then got the idea was, Mick Jagger called me to London, and the idea was, since I have looked through all the archive footage, he wanted in one song, and Time Is On My Side, in 3 or 4 minutes, a live performance, which I had to film in Syracuse in the state of New York. And with archive footage, he wanted to tell the story of the history of the Rolling Stones until then. So I was in Syracuse filming that live concert, and I was called backstage. Well, I was called actually to a little office backstage of the manager, and I had to sign a contract. And of course, I signed it, and after I did that, well, by the way, I gave all the rights away. I would have paid, same as later for Queen. In the first video, I would have paid to direct it, you know. Rolling Stones, are you kidding me? You know, I mean, whew. And Queen, are you kidding me? But thing is that after we did that, he said, you want to see the boys? You want to go backstage? That's why also backstage, I think, became a motto. And I said, sure. And he took me backstage, and he opens the door. And in that door, it was the dressing room, and there were half naked or naked women, musicians, whatever, and also, of course, the Rolling Stones. And there was a table, and Keith was in the middle of doing a cocaine line, which was from here to here. I mean, this. It was not from here to here or to here. No, it was from here to here. And he turns around to me, and I'm sort of the shy, young Austrian director, hopeful, and says, you want one? Well, what do you think did Rudy say? What did I say? This would be a nice trivia question, by the way, which maybe should do. So I'm keeping the answer. But, yeah, and one guy said, well, it's the new video guy. I said, okay, well, come in. We want to have fun? And that was my first impression. I mean, not my first impression of the Rolling Stones, because I met them when they watched my film and I interviewed them before. But then I really knew that I was backstage, like you are now here in my program. That's a good idea. Paul, please, and please also, Beth, make a note that we are going to have a trivia question. What did Rudy say? Yes or no? There's only 2 possibilities, so you can also make a guess. But I'm doing this as a trivia question. Okay. Paul, you have to look a little bit at the time, because I forgot to time it. I have no idea how long we are. So, anyway, Alice Blanchin from France said, is it true, back in Queen, of course, yeah? Well, of course. Is it true that Jim Hutton suggested Freddie Mercury having a black and white birthday party? Well, I have to say that I don't think so. Jim, whom I liked a lot, and I had until the end a very good relationship, he might have an influence on it, but I remember that I was going with Freddie and a art director, I think he flew him in from London, if I'm not mistaken. I was going through the Hendersons, which was a red decorated gay club, and told the art director what he wanted to change into black and white. Here I want black and white roses, and here I want the black and white the tables, and black and white this and that. And he said it in a way that I would not guess that it was somebody else's idea. So maybe Jim was part of the decision making, yeah, when they were discussing that at home. But this also is, to me, and I talked to Peter Freestone about it, it just sounds so much like a Freddie idea. And Freddie always had mottos for his birthday parties. Don't forget, there was 1 year later, there was the Crazy Hat party, and his birthday parties usually had a motto, yeah? Is it true that Freddie Mercury wanted all the people close to him to appear in the final cut of the video? Yes, this is true. And I do remember, and I just talked to Dennis from Rio de Janeiro, the photographer who did great pictures at the Living on My Own shoot. He was coming, Dennis was coming with Freddie and probably Jim and probably Joe. But I remember Dennis and Freddie into my editing room one day when I was editing Living on My Own. And Freddie was going through the whole footage with me, and sort of was choosing so that all of his friends, Barbara Valentin, Jim. This is why I think Jim was not there, because I remember that we went through this, and there were quite a lot of scenes where Jim was pretty wild. So yes, that's true. He picked them, and he handpicked them, and he told me which ones he wants to have in. I was making suggestions of crazy scenes, and then he made sure that all those people that he liked are in. And then there's a question, I have the impression, this is again Alice, that there was strong rivalries between those close to Freddie Mercury, particularly between Mary Austin and Jim Hutton. Well, darlings, this is exactly the kind of stuff that I'm not going into. Because I liked Jim, I liked Mary Austin, I had my own relationships, rivalries, I don't know, and I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? What I do know, or what I can say, is that I was a little bit irritated when Freddie passed, that there were different stories circulating of who was present when Freddie died. And I just know that there were contradicting stories. One was of Dave Clark, and another one was of Peter Freestone, and was Joe Vanelli was saying and backing one of the two, etc., etc. So I was a little bit irritated because why do you say that? But I stay out of this, darlings, and that's not something where Rudy is commenting in general. Francesca Testa from Italy. Your videos are masterpieces. My favorite is Breakthrough, but I love all of them, and your stories are fabulous. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing them with us. I have a question. These are the days. Oh, hang on. Yeah, the one is about these are the days of my lives. Did Freddie create the animated sequences or the idea for the Disney version? Well, actually not. The thing was that at the time, Well, if he had the idea, I don't know. I know that Disney did that animated things, and that it was already existing when we filmed the video. So, and when I saw it, I was suggesting that we do one version with the animation and another one without. I was not too keen about the animation, to be honest, but that was done without me and without my input. I mean, maybe I didn't know if that was pre-existing or if Disney did that after the instructions of Freddie. I don't actually know. Hang on, okay. So that I don't know. And then Eva from only gives. By the way, if you send me questions, please, you can. I don't mind if you don't want to say your full name, but tell me which country you are from, because for trivia. Also for the questions, I always would like to know the country, because it makes the whole thing international. I would guess that she's from Germany, but I'm not sure. I would like to know if Freddie dyed his hair. There's some problem. I mean, is this really important? Is it really important if Freddie Mercury dyed his hair? I mean, darlings, are you kidding me? Yes, Freddie Mercury went to the toilet. Yes, Freddie Mercury had 2 or 3 meals a day. But is that really important if he dyed his hair? You know what I mean? I have to slow this down because it irritates me. This is because now I'm on Twitter and everything, and I get the messages. I don't think this is important. I'm sorry. You know, of course I know it, but it's nobody's business. Also, I don't. And it's a simple answer, but I don't do it because I'm against that. By the way, and I might create some controversy here. I am not keen on the fact that a lot of people are calling themselves on social media using Freddie or Mercury or the names. I'll tell you why. I know that this is out of admiration. I know it's done with good intentions. But think about it. Would you like somebody else taking your name and calling himself like that on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, or on Twitter? You know? I think it's okay if you could ask the person, like if somebody wants to call himself Brian or Brian May or Roger or what have you, and you are in contact with Brian and Brian says fine, or Brian said once, I don't know, I'm not aware of it. That's okay if you do that, but don't you think that you have to ask the person to use the name? I mean, it's like copyright. Everybody has the right on his face, of how he looks, of his own picture. I mean, this is basic right. I'm not super keen on that, because I had a discussion with one person the other day, and I said, you know, I'm not keen on that, and this person was not really understanding in the beginning, but then understood. Okay. So, Sylvie Kadouri from France. Bonjour Rudy, je voulais savoir quel est votre plus beau souvenir avec Freddie et Queen. Merci pour tous ces partages des instances précieuses avec Freddie. Bisous, à bientôt. Macabio, whatever that means. This means, hello Rudy, I wanted to know what is the fondest memory with Freddie and Queen. Thank you for all this sharing of your precious moments with Freddie. Kisses, okay. I don't kiss people I don't know, so I'm sorry. No, I know it's meant in a nice way. What is the fondest memory? Well, I saw once how Freddie was helping a person and supporting a person, and I happened to be in the same room. It was not intended, but it was also not a secret. Freddie did this quite often. I mean, Peter Freestone could tell more about it, but I happened to be there every now and then. And then he was helping him, supporting him financially. And he said, there's one thing I'll ask you. I don't want this, that you tell it to anybody like media or whatever. And if you promise me that, then I help you. And I think that's very cool. And that's very gentlemanlike. Because Freddie didn't do those things to be in the media. Oh, he helps a poor homeless person or whatever. That was not his style. He was helping people because he had a heart here. And that's why I love him. And I still, that's why I liked him and love him in an artistic way and as a human being, of course. So that's a fond memory. I'm not telling you who it was, of course, because I respect Freddie's wish. So here we are now. Jill Mack from USA. I love this jacket. Well, it's a bad printout, but if I show this, you might remember it's from Days of Our Lives. It's a funny jacket. It's a painted back jacket with a lot of yellow. I love this jacket. This was the first time I looked you up to see who was the cool guy with Freddie with the greatest jacket ever. That's sweet of you. Do you still have it, and can you show it to us on Backstage? Well, I think I mentioned this once. I still have all of those jackets. All. And I'm keeping them in a place actually in my house near Vienna, in Vienna. Actually, I'm living in a town called Purkersdorf, which is a little bit outside of Vienna, in the Vienna woods. I have it there, and I never threw it away because I always thought, well, one day, I mean, I'm not wearing them, to be honest, anymore. I could wear them now again because I'm slim like I was then, you know, maybe even slimmer. But because I'm doing Run, Rudy, Run every day, you know that if you follow me. And because I'm eating good, and because I stopped drinking alcohol, and of course I stopped smoking cigarettes. But you know all that if you follow me. But the thing is that I was thinking, well, maybe there is one, say, RUDI BACKSTAGE museum, which still, you know, I mean, I'm not going to do it because, I mean, I'm not going to, but there's still there's a lot of stuff that would be worth considering. So, yes, I have those jackets. I have those. I once was giving one away for a charity. I remember there was a charity in Vienna many, many years ago, 15 years ago or something, by a very good friend in Austria called Marika Lichter. And she always makes once a year a big charity concert, Wider die Gewalt, against violence, and meaning against violence at home, between husband and wife, against your children or other children, etc. And since I was too shy to perform, which I wouldn't be today anymore, but at the time, because all the people were contributing and went there and was singing a song or were reciting a poem or something like that. And at the time, I didn't feel like that. And I said to her, and she also was making, I don't know what you call it, but where the people are bidding how much they pay for something. And she asked me to contribute something, and I contributed the jacket, I remember. And the whole money was going for women and children who are abused. So it was for a good cause. I gave that away. I'm never going to sell it, by the way. If you want to ask me, don't even ask me that. I'm never going to sell that. So, darlings, it's a little bit, we're making some progress today. I was mentioning the book, and I did write 2 new chapters. I finished them, which is now almost done. I mean, I will try to tell you a little bit. Maybe I find somewhere, I didn't prepare it, the list of all the chapters. It was meant to be 40 chapters. It's now 50 chapters. And I've written 45. So there is 5 missing. it might be the case because I sort of I'm in a good writing mood, modus, feel, groove. That because I was reading the preface and the first chapter to a good friend of mine recently on the phone, and I realized that that one of the chapters, early chapters, I wouldn't write it again like that. It's a little bit too long and this and that. So of course I'm see if I have to edit them or maybe rewrite a few of them. But we are very close. We are very close to finishing the book. That I hope should be good news. And the two chapters which I finally finished are both, and that's interesting. And you could actually look those photographs up. One is the quite well-known one where Freddie is showing this, and I'm standing next to it, and it starts with our conversation about it, and it's called Ping-Pong, and it's about the creative process of developing concepts for various videos, not only One Vision, but for Scandal and Breakthrough and what have you. Yeah, and the other one is based on a photograph that Peter Freestone took of this group. I don't know if it's actually on the internet because Peter lost it. I hope it's not on the internet. I'm not going to show it to you because I sort of want to keep it a little bit to the book, where there was a version of the Inner Circle at Freddie's house, playing Scrabble, and I was there for, at my knowledge, the first time in the Inner Circle. And I called it in the Inner Circle, and I'm describing everybody and also the people who are not on the photo. And this is both, I'm very content with it. And to remind you, and now Paul, I hope you're not sleeping. Paul, do you hear me? I would like
Yes.
I would like to show you a little minute which reminds you why I'm writing this book. So Paul, please play the video. Darlings, my book on Freddie Mercury is a very, very personal project. I do it for two reasons. Number one, for you, Freddie Mercury's fans. I want to tell the untold stories, and I want to give you those untold stories. And then I do it because for years I have the feeling he wants me to do it. So please, come with me. Stay on this journey with my friend Freddie. Yeah, this is a little reminder why I'm doing this. I now lost connection to Paul. I probably have to call him again. So this is, as you know, something very personal, and my daily routine includes again writing every day, which I'm very happy that it comes again. You have to understand, I try to be very disciplined, but it's very, very difficult to be in the mood of writing every day. When I started the closed circle here, the focus on the book writing back in or finishing the book back in March, it was like I was very eager. And I was able to develop a daily routine. But after you've done quite a lot, and I did a lot of writing at this Miami session, a lot, something like, I don't know, I didn't count it. I had already a lot of chapters, but I made a very, very good progress. Then I sort of had to take a little bit of a pause. That was when I made a little bit more activities in social media, etc. Because it's like your brain is empty, you know. It is very, very difficult to even get in. You know, I know. I mean, what I wanted to write, but see, it starts with something. Usually, I wake up in the morning, and I have an idea, and I'm in the book writing field, which I am. You know. But if I don't have one, I sit here on my table. I'm looking out. I'm taking the list of the chapters that I had planned, and I try it for some time. And if it doesn't come, it doesn't come. It's like a little bird that's. It's a creativity is nothing that you can always turn on. I'm quite good in being disciplined, and I know I had feelings where I was sitting here and I said, fuck, you know, and then I said, no, Rudi, no, you're not getting up, you're not doing sports or whatever. Now you're sitting and you're trying. I can do that, but it only to a certain extent. So the thing is that I now developed the concept that I'm outlining a chapter. Like the other day, I was speaking to a very dear friend of mine. Hi, by the way. She knows that I mean her. And I was speaking about something that Roger and I discussed around a very, very crazy, party. This is my tea that I'm drinking. A very crazy party that I had to organize in Vienna in a whorehouse, in a brothel. Not for me, but for Queen, for actually the crew, not Brian, not Roger, not Freddie, not John, because the tour manager, Jerry Stickles, had a birthday, and they picked Vienna to do it. And it was about women and about, you know, in the connection with that. And I said, you know, write it down, because that's a good start for a chapter. And because I was in a good mood, I said, would you mind writing more down? And then I outlined it. This happened in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's like the idea for a song, probably. I'm also writing songs, you know. And with that, I can sit in tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, whenever, have that in front of me, and then I can start, because I know the beginning and I know how it. And then it's pure work, and then sometimes it takes 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Then I let it rest for a day and go over it. But that's sort of how this works, just so that you know. Okay, darlings, we have now, I think, yes, I have to call Paul, because we have lost communication, which can happen. You know, we are live. So I hope he picks up. Hello, Paul. Hi.
Yes, please.
Yes, hello. Yeah. Okay, we're still on air. I was noticing it, but I wanted to finish that story. Listen, Paul, can you do me a favor and tell me how long are we? Because I don't have... Huh? So far?
We're 49 minutes right now.
49. Okay, so there's 11 minutes left about. Okay, good. Thank you. I keep you on speaker. Please be so kind and mute yourself. Okay, 49 minutes. 49. Let me... Okay, good. Because there's no watch. Okay, 49. Anyway, I forgot to put my watch here, which I usually have. It's just, you know, sometimes. So let's do 49. Let's do a few more questions, and then I was right. There is more. So I'm now making the decision. Oh, hey, we have to do the trivia. Oh my God. Hey, we have to do the trivia. Here we go. You're waiting for that. So yes, the trivia. 50, 45. Okay, alles klar. So the trivia question, as you might remember, was: which 3 prominent rock stars were originally considered to be in the gorilla costume for the video I'm Going Slightly Mad? Which 3 prominent rock stars were originally considered to be in the gorilla costume for the video I'm Going Slightly Mad? I'm not saying which one could it be? And I'm not saying if there was one. I have to save a few things for my book. I'm sorry. And we have, of course, the statistics, which this week for number 18 has a tie for first place. Italy 30%, USA 30%, France 9%, Austria 5% on the fifth place, and Argentina 4% on the fourth place, and Argentina on the fifth place. So Italy and USA both number one, 30% each. Third place France 9, fourth place Austria 5, and fifth place Argentina 4. And the following countries have 2, 1, or 0.5%. But no, hang on. There's England with 3%, Canada with 3%, and India with 3%. And then the following have 2, 1, or 0.5. Belgium, Portugal, Scotland, Spain, Brazil, Malta, Japan, Lithuania, Mexico, Netherlands, Slovak Republic, and Switzerland. So this also gives quite a nice overview what sort of is also the people who are watching this show. So here we are. It's the usual. I said today to Paul, I probably have to take this because this boy now becomes famous. So okay, and I'm not looking, and here we go. And the winner is somebody from USA, Natalie Kinslow. Natalie Kinslow says correctly, Rod Stewart, David Bowie, and Elton John were considered. So you are getting a great memorabilia signed by me. And the trivia question for next week has to do with yesterday's big day of Queen. So if you want to listen and make a note for next week, the trivia question is, in which city or region, I'm making it easier, in which city or region happened yesterday, exactly 50 years ago, the first ever Queen concert in southwest England? I give you the little hint. And it has to be the city or the region. The city is a rather unknown small city, probably somewhere in the internet. By the way, this question, you get it soon. Please contact me. By the way, this question for anybody who would have listened, I didn't say it, if you would have watched Queen, the Untold Stories, I'm telling the story of the gorilla in there. And but I didn't want to make it too easy. There was still a lot. Again, we are usually in the hundreds. So in which city or region, which means like a region like Sussex, or whatever, or which city happened yesterday, exactly 50 years ago, the first Queen concert? Well, then we're doing the rest of the questions next Sunday, I promise. Yeah. Then what I also wanted to introduce you is we have two new email addresses, which are, if you look at the bottom, backstage.rudygifts@gmail.com. backstage.rudygifts@gmail.com. Now, to this email, I would like you to write suggestions of what you would like to have, which you think, what should I produce and do? I mean, for example, should I do mugs like this? But of course, with something related to Doro TV or my name or the artist. Should I do T-shirts? Because I would like to feel a little bit into because people are asking me every night, where is the Doro T-shirt? I'm not wearing one today, but where is the Doro T-shirt? Can we buy it? I told it last week. It's usually for my crew, but I could also do Doro T-shirts with funny quotes, or whatever. So write me there if you think that's a good idea, or mugs, or whatever, and what you think I should not do. Yeah, because then I might consider these ideas. So, okay, and now I have to look again. Was it one? Paul, give it back to me. Oh, here we go. Number 3. And the other email address is backstage.rudifans@gmail.com. That's backstage.rudifans@gmail.com. This is a general email address where you can write me stuff which is not trivia answers, which is not Q&A, which is not about the gifts or merchandise, just something that I might ask you in the program, so that we do not use other emails, because we want to keep it together, my angel and myself. So that is what this idea is about. Good. So I've done this. This is the first time that I'm pressing this myself. I have to get used to it, but it's going to come. So, darlings, we are close to the end. And I want to say, maybe we can do another question or two. Come on. Okay. Okay. Liz Gonzalez from USA says, I think this is one of the biggest questions. Where do you believe Freddie wanted his ashes buried? Had to be London, and please, blah, blah. So, Liz, again, that's a question that I'm not speculating. This is too private. I don't think, if it's not public, it's not public for a reason. It's not public because Freddie doesn't want it or what have you. Francesca Dazio from Italy, which artist do you want to work and which never happened? Okay, good. Well, first of all, I'm not waking up in the morning with sweaty hands and saying, oh my God, I never worked with so-and-so. That's not something that happens. I think I was very privileged in my life. I think I liked almost all of the artists very much that I had the privilege of working with. Don't forget, there was early days where I also did videos and I was not friends with anybody. But if you ask me, and usually I say it's difficult to say that, but if you ask me, I would say Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton, of course, didn't do a lot of videos, if he did any at all. But it's a musician that I'm respecting a lot, and I think he's a very, very great musician, and also wrote fantastic songs. Some of his songs, by the way, I translated into German and for other artists. And I was thinking that maybe one day I'm gonna perform them myself, of course with pros who play the instrument. So that's something that I want to that I could name. Paulie, how much do we still have? Paul, how long are we? Paul?
Yes.
How long are we?
58 minutes.
Okay, well then we have to make it close. Okay, thank you. Well, darling, then that's it for today. All those other questions, there's a lot, for next Sunday, which I herewith also declare to a fan, Rudy Backstage, and you know my 3 wishes, right? Most of you are members, but, well, actually, I have 2 new wishes that just comes into my mind. I have 2 new wishes, and I would say, please join Rudy on Facebook at the official page, which is called Rudy Official, and please join me on Twitter, which is Rudy on Twitter, which is at Rudy. That's my 2 new wishes. You know the other wishes already, and most of you who are watching have done it anyway. But the 3rd one is always the same. Please, never. Do me the favor and never, never miss on a Sunday to watch this crazy guy wherever he is, and it's called RUDI Backstage.
You wanna know what goes on backstage? Oh, come on. Let me take you by the hand. Ow!
Rudy, are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen,
The way I see it, Barry, this should be a very dynamite show.
You know, I have no idea what the name of this program is, but you're watching it.
Backstage. All you ever want. Backstage. All you ever need. Backstage. Your dreams will be fulfilled once you are there. You'll never want to leave. You want to sell your ass for that backstage pass. Backstage is just for the invited. Backstage. They've laid on everything